Welcome back. This is Becca's story. And Becca is a very unique child of ours because
I had a heart surgery whenever I was a baby.
she did when she was 9 days old. So this is her story. When Becca was born, we found out that she had a heart condition. She was born blue, and the doctors and nurses were saying that the reason why she was blue is because she was born too fast, which obviously was not the case. And so when she was about 7 hours old, I went to go try to feed her again, and she wouldn't eat. She absolutely refused. I tried. She nursed for a little bit, then she went back to sleep. I even tried, getting her naked, or not naked, but, down to her diaper, so she was cold. She wouldn't wake up for that either. Thankfully, the nurse walked in a few minutes later, and when the nurse walked in, I was like, there's something wrong. I couldn't get her to eat, and I don't understand why, because especially when she was born, she nursed for a little bit, and she nursed for almost an hour straight because she was hungry. And that's, well, not really hungry. I think she was just kind of developing it, but that sense kind of thing, and that feeling of what it's supposed to feel like to nurse. But she was natural at it. So she nursed for so long, and she did so well nursing that honestly I didn't worry about it. So I was kind of concerned when she wouldn't even try to nurse off of me after that. And so I had the nurse check her. The nurse was going to check her anyways, but I asked her to check her specifically before she checked me. And so the nurse checked her, and when you do the tap test, your skin is supposed to return back to its normal color once you touch it, because it goes white whenever you touch it, right? And then you let go, and it's white for a second, and then within a few seconds it goes back to your color, the normal color that you are, whether it's tan, white, whatever, it doesn't matter. But when you have a heart condition, fun fact, your tap test does not return back to normal within a few seconds. It takes 30 seconds to a minute or longer. And Becca's was taking a minute or longer to do. So they take her into the nursery there, because they didn't have a NICU in this hospital. And they take her into the nursery, and in the nursery they run a few tests on her, including giving her an echo, where they find out that her heart was flipped. Her arteries, her main arteries, the aortic and the pulmonary, were flipped. So instead of going like this, they were like this. And they made a beautiful arch over the two halves of your heart. But the problem is with that is that it makes it so that all of your oxygenated blood is going back down into your lungs and not out to your body. And so, what did they do? Do you remember?
They
rushed you to Kansas City, where she was at the children's hospital there. And but until then, they had to do one of those little airbag thingies, whenever you can't breathe on the the little oxygen mask stuff that you pump it into. They had to do one of those on her, and it was kind of scary, I'm not gonna lie, because I was by myself. Ty had taken my oldest sister to the airport because she was supposed to be returning to where she was living at the time. And he had my oldest son and our vehicle. Obviously, I did not have a vehicle with me because I just delivered a baby. So I had to call a friend of mine, and when Becca left, we left. And we got to the hospital just at about the same time that the airplane landed, and they unloaded her and put her into the NICU bed that she was going to be in until her surgery. Mm-hmm. When my husband got there, because he didn't know how bad it was, and he was already freaked, thankfully, my amazing friend was able to stay with my oldest son, Austin, until we were able to get all the information we needed. So she stayed with him while we were talking to the doctors, and one thing we found out was obviously that she had TGA, because we didn't know, or transposition of the great arteries. We didn't know what it was called. We didn't know anything about it, really. We just knew that her valves were switched and that her oxygenated blood was going back down into her lungs and not out to her body. That's all we knew. And really, that's all they really told us again, but they explained it in more detail, and it's really confusing whenever they explain it. So it was kind of hard to follow them. Plus, everything was just happening so quickly, But then we went back and we were checking on her with the doctor, and they have apneic episodes is what they're called, and it's whenever they stop breathing. And she went apneic several times. So within the first 3 days of her life, because that valve in her heart had already started shutting, babies have a flap that they have in their heart, and it flaps until they're old enough or the heart is big enough to be able to close it, and it functions on its own without the extra help from the flap. Because the flap helps them to breathe and for the heart to function while in utero. So when the flap, hold on, baby. When the flap closed is whenever she started having the apneic episodes where she stopped breathing, and she stopped breathing several times. So within the first 3 days, they went ahead and they tried putting her on medication. The medication did not work. They tried that the second day, I want to say, because she went apneic at least 3 times within that day. And then, actually, she went apneic more than that, but that's okay. So she was put on some medication the second day she was there, and because she had so many apneic episodes within a 24-hour period. And then when they found that even the medication wasn't working, they went ahead and did a catheter surgery to open that flap back up until they could go in and give her open heart surgery. Now, the flap, opening that flap back up didn't help everything, but it did make it easier for her to breathe. So she did have some apneic episodes after that. They just weren't as frequent, and they definitely weren't as scary. So she was doing a lot better after that, which was kind of sad in the long run, just because the doctor that we had kept telling us to wait. She was like, oh, well, she's not doing bad. We want her to gain some more weight. So we're just going to wait. We're just going to wait. Oh, thanks, Corley. That's definitely not yours. And so it got pretty scary for a while there because they kept telling us to wait, and she wasn't getting any better. And then finally we had a new doctor on the floor, and she was about, I'm going to say 7 days old, maybe 8. No, when she was about 7 days old, within 24 hours after that doctor had gotten on the floor, he had us scheduled for a surgery, an open heart surgery for her within 48 hours. So 24 hours before, they gave us the instructions. We went through all of the procedures and stuff like that we needed to do, and the pre-instructions and all that jazz. And then the day of, she went in early in the morning and then came out pretty early in the afternoon. She went in about 10, came out at about like 12 or 2 or something like that. It was a long day, I'm not going to lie. Because, come to find out, when they took her off of the machine that helps your heart beat while you're in surgery for open heart surgery, thanks, Corley. Yeah. She stopped breathing. Her lungs collapsed. So she didn't stop breathing. Her lungs collapsed and filled with blood. So she had one lung that had completely collapsed, and the other one had halfway collapsed. They were able to reinflate the other one on its own, and they just had to shake it out of blood, the blood that was in there. But the second one had to reinflate, and so she calls it her second belly button, but she had like a drainage tube underneath. You don't have to show it. She had a drainage tube underneath her belly button that was coming from the 2 lungs down out through this one drainage tube to try to shake out all the blood that was in there. And one, like I said, filled up completely and collapsed, and the other one only did partway, and then they had to shake it out. So, after that long story, that was our journey with her. After she was able to get her lungs to reinflate, and after she was able to deal with all of that, amazingly, she recovered so quickly. Like, I was talking to some of the doctors there, and they had never seen anybody recover from open heart surgery that quickly, her age. She was only 9 days old when she went through the surgery, and she was just a tramp, a complete champ. She didn't really whine or cry. She was super quiet. She was such a good baby. She really didn't have any issues with eating. She loved food. She latched really well still after that. She just was such a good baby after we fixed her heart. And She did everything. She's a little delayed on some of her motor skills, but to be honest, it's to be expected with a baby that had a heart condition or with a child that had a heart condition. And so it's just kind of something that we watch now. And we like to celebrate it because it's the day that saved her life. And so we celebrate the 10th of February every single year. What do?
Mama makes us heart donuts for my heart surgery day. And it's called, dang, I forgot what it's called.
Heartiversary.
Yeah, my heartiversary.
It's her heartiversary. And we make sure to celebrate it every single year because it's really important for us to remember that, you know, every day is a blessing and every day is a gift. And she's here for a reason. And we focus on that because she's important and God has a plan for her. And I try to help her realize that every single day because how easy is it for us to forget that there is a plan for each and every one of us and that our lives really do matter. And so that's Becca's story. It was kind of boring, kind of long, and I'm sorry, but, you know, it was worth it. She was worth it. She still is every single day. We have to go in for a yearly checkup every year and to figure out what's going on. Like right now, she has a small leak and,
This one, is it this one?
no. But she does have a small leak, and we have to watch it because if it gets much bigger, we're going to have to do another open heart surgery on her or another catheter surgery. Another surgery is what she was saying. So we're just going to watch her. Hopefully it doesn't get any worse, and we can get her the help that she needs without having to do another surgery because surgeries are scary. And, I mean, sometimes they're good, you know, when they're needed. They're good, but they're scary, and I don't feel like any child should have to go through that pain ever, 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 ever. She still finds like where wires or like little black spots in her scar line kind of thing. It's essentially where the wire is still
like
working
it's
out.
Over here, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a straight line heading for my belly.
Yeah, it's pretty, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Scars are beautiful. They tell a story, huh?
And
her scars tell very important stories, too.
Yes, and I'm not supposed to bump into anything or else I'll stop breathing for like a short, it's not long.
No. She gets the wind knocked out of her very easily, is what she's trying to say. So she has to be very careful whenever she does knock into things because of the fact that her wind does get taken from her pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope.
Bye.
Bye.
Becca's amazing. You guys have a good week. If you have any questions about TGA, please drop them in the comments below. Or if you have a baby with TGA, please drop in the comments below. We love to hear your stories. And we love to be able to find other babies and other kids that we can relate to. Because she does amazing things. She dances. She does gymnastics.
And I do jazz, tap, and dance.
She does. And ballet. It's called ballet. But she does so many things, and so their lives can be just like yours and mine. And there's an Olympian who, I think he was a skier, an Olympic skier or something like that. He had TGA, and there was, I know, right? See, there's so many things you can do with still having had a heart defect. And so it doesn't end your life. It doesn't mean that everything is going to be over and that you're not going to be able to live a normal life. It just means that you're going to have to be a little more careful, and you're going to have to be a little more aware of what your body feels and says and does. So we have to look for certain things, but it's been pretty good so far, huh, Becca?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't bumped into anything since I have been bumping into some things.
That didn't make sense, but that's okay. Anyways, once again, if you like this video, like, subscribe, share, and feel free to leave your experiences with TGA in the comments. If you have any questions, like I said, drop in the comments below, and we may answer it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk to you later. Have a good week.
Bye.